Okay, so as people are joining us today, welcome. You are joining us for Cooking for Weight Loss. This is a program brought to you by Northern Westchester Hospital's Center for Healthy Living, and we are featuring today the Center for Weight Management. To get started, I am your host for today. My name is Amy Rosenfeld. I'm a registered dietitian and the program coordinator for the Center for Healthy Living. And today is very special. If you've joined me today before in the kitchen in the Zoom room, you may have seen me cooking, but today I have two clinicians with me as guests, which is really lovely. My colleagues and friends from the Center for Weight Management. I'll introduce first Rachel Goldman. Rachel is a nurse practitioner and certified diabetes educator for the Center for Weight Management. Welcome, Rachel.
Yeah.
And I have Laura Spallina. Laura works with Rachel at the Center for Weight Management, also as a nurse practitioner. They are weight loss experts, and we are excited to have you both in the Zoom room with us, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Of
you.
course. Today, Laura, Rachel, and I will be discussing the world of weight loss to provide each of you with some valuable information to help you start or continue on a successful weight loss journey. At the end of the presentation, after Laura and Rachel share with us some tips, I'll be demonstrating for you 2 healthy weight loss recipes. In your email confirming your attendance to this webinar, you should have received the weight loss recipes. If for any reason you didn't, you can always send an email to chl@northwell.edu, and I'd be happy to get those to you. So just some business to get started. As time permits at the end of the program, we will take questions. You can submit your questions through the chat function or the Q&A function using the Zoom. If your question is not answered at all during the presentation, you can always email after. That's the Center for Weight Management, nwh@northwell.edu. And you can see that in one of the Zoom boxes here as well that will be up the entire time. If at any time during the presentation you're interested in booking an appointment with the Center for Weight Management with Laura or Rachel, please private message us using the chat filter with your contact information, and one of our providers will contact you for assistance in answering your question or for booking your appointment. At the end of the presentation, there will also be a survey that automatically pops up, and you can also have the opportunity to put your contact information there. And just to get started, to schedule an appointment with the Center for Weight Management, the number is 914-223-1780. And again, you can also email Center for Weight Management, nwh@northwell.edu. All right, so I'm going to start by asking some questions. So the first question is for Rachel. Rachel, why does my doctor talk to me about weight? It's a really good question.
It's a good question. Discussing weight can be really uncomfortable. Unfortunately, in our society, people are often teased or discriminated upon for being overweight, from fashion magazines to shrinking airplane seats. We live in a culture that places a lot of value on looking a certain way. As a medical community, our concern is not based on appearance, but on the effect that your weight has to your overall health. Being overweight can increase your risk of many medical conditions that could lead to either shorten your lifespan or decrease your quality of life. Some examples of these medical conditions are heart attacks, stroke, various cancers, diabetes, and arthritis. Your doctor may advise you to lose weight based on a tool called body mass index, or BMI. Anyone with a BMI score greater than 30 is considered to be medically obese. Anyone with a BMI score over 25 is considered to be overweight. Most medical professionals recommend staying somewhere between 20 to 25 on your BMI. However, if you're already overweight or obese, even losing 5% of your weight can greatly reduce your risk of related medical conditions and improve your overall health.
Wow, so that could be just a few pounds for some people. It makes such a big difference. That sounds good in small numbers, manageable in small numbers. So Laura, how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected people's lifestyles?
So anecdotally, we have, as providers, have seen an associated weight gain with the COVID-19 pandemic. So if you've been struggling with weight gain over the last few months, you are definitely not alone. The pandemic has affected us all in many different ways. Some people are now working from home, which may increase your time spent sedentary, sitting more than usual. And it also increases our access to our kitchens. We're a lot closer to the kitchen and more able to get snacks throughout the day. In addition, many people have faced increased stress related to the pandemic, which has led to an increase of us emotionally eating. People are often choosing comfort foods and processed snacks instead of the healthier options. And also, since we've been encouraged to see less people socially, there is less social pressure to stay in shape.
Interesting. So you're really seeing a dramatic increase in weight being an issue with people that you're seeing, and it's nice to have that a little bit of camaraderie, that it's the people suffering who may be hearing this for the first time, that they're not the only ones.
Mhm.
That's very comforting. All right. So just to add to that, Laura, how does obesity affect COVID-19? So kind of the flip side of that, if you were to contract it.
So the thing is, obesity, it doesn't put us at risk of actually getting COVID-19. If you take the proper precautions, it decreases your risk. But the problem that we're seeing is that there is actually an increased risk of serious complications after getting COVID-19 in the obese population. So the CDC has stated that people of any age, even younger patients with a BMI above or equal to 30, are at increase for getting this severe illness from COVID-19. So obesity alone triples one's risk of needing to be hospitalized from COVID-19. This emphasizes the fact that weight management is really crucial in the face of this pandemic to decrease the risk of serious complications and hospitalizations.
Did you say triple? Was that the number you said? It
Yeah.
triples your risk? Wow. That's definitely something to think about. So then, Laura, what affects your weight gain? Like, if people are experiencing this, what affects weight gain?
So there are so many things that go into determining weight gain. It's kind of a common misconception that obesity is an issue with our willpower. In fact, it really is a chronic disease with multiple determinants. It includes your genetics, your environment, your access to healthy food, time and ability to make healthy meals, behaviors such as how you eat, how you move, stressors on the body, medications that we have to take for certain diseases, our hunger hormones, even some underlying medical conditions such as Cushing's, polycystic ovarian syndrome, thyroid disease, and diabetes. So over time, obesity can affect your overall health, and it can lead to certain diseases, including cardiovascular disease, diabetes, depression, sleep apnea, asthma, to name a few. It can also lead to infertility. Also, there's kind of this tug of war struggle that we face when we try to lose weight. In fact, if you go on a strict diet and you start to lose weight, your body actually starts to work against you, and the metabolism slows down as you lose weight, and your hunger hormones actually increase, which makes it really hard to maintain this weight loss.
Interesting. So you described a lot of factors that are not in your control. A lot of factors that are within your control, and kind of showing a little bit of how everybody needs some hand holding in this process, that it's definitely not something that's easy to do alone.
Right.
So in that, we're very fortunate at Northern Westchester Hospital to have a team approach to weight loss and have a special center devoted to that called the Center for Weight Management, which is medically supervised weight loss. So Rachel, what is the team approach for the Center for Weight Management, and why is it important to see a medical weight loss specialist?
So there's no one size fits all approach to weight loss because, as Laura described, there are just so many factors that contribute to weight gain. Our program's designed to use the latest medical research to help find a path for anybody who's struggling to lose weight. We see patients who want to lose a small amount of weight or others who need to lose hundreds of pounds. For Laura and myself, we want to improve our patients' overall health, also making sure that our patients are getting the best medical care for related medical conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, sleep apnea, in addition to just the weight loss. When a patient comes to the center, everyone starts with a medical consultation. If it's a child or an adolescent, they see our colleague, Dr. Nadia Saldana, who's a pediatric weight loss specialist. All adults see either Laura or myself, and we discuss your specific struggles and successes in the past. Our goal is to get to know what works well for you and what doesn't. We take into consideration your current medical conditions, medications, issues associated with weight gain, and help to identify any possible contributing factors. During your first visit, we come up with small changes that we make to your current lifestyle to help you begin to lose weight. This may include changes in eating habits, an exercise plan, stress reduction techniques. We may check blood work to make sure you aren't having any of those hormonal or metabolic conditions that contribute to weight gain. We may refer you to begin working with some of our colleagues at the center. Our program is unique because we have a wonderful team we have put together. Our registered dietitians are all master's level prepared licensed healthcare providers who are experts in healthy eating and teaching our patients about navigating grocery stores, restaurants, and other special diets that they may need for other medical conditions. Our patients also have access to a special gym at Chappaqua Crossing where exercise physiologists help teach our patients how to exercise safely and effectively. We have 2 medical grade 0 gravity treadmills available. So even for people who feel out of shape and are intimidated with the idea of going to a gym, have a safe way to build up their exercise tolerance. Exercise physiologists are medical specialists who are experts at helping people learn how to exercise safely. For more aggressive weight loss, Laura and I prescribe some FDA-approved medications for patients who are interested and qualify. We also have a world-class bariatric surgeon we work with, Dr. Roslin, who does several types of weight loss procedures, such as sleeve gastrectomies, gastric bypasses, duodenal switches, and bariatric revisions. Currently, because of the COVID pandemic, we're seeing our patients through telemedicine only, which has some benefits. We're able to do your evaluation from the comfort of your own home. And this has also allowed us to offer increased flexibility for appointments. We offer appointments now early in the morning, evening, and even on Saturday mornings.
Wonderful. So it sounds like it's a really holistic approach. It's
Yes.
the benefits of you and Laura as nurse practitioners, but then there's a whole team approach from nutrition to exercise that are all medically supervised and licensed to provide all the facets you need for a successful weight loss journey. That's excellent. And just to clarify a little bit, is any of this covered by insurance, or can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. So we take many insurances. Generally, if you already see a Northwell doctor and they take your insurance, Laura and I take those insurances. We verify insurance benefits to see some people do have benefits to see a registered dietitian, and also some people do have benefits to enroll in gyms or get involved with exercise classes.
Okay, excellent. And if it's not covered by insurance, I'm assuming there's a fee for service
Yes,
option that
exactly.
you can participate in.
Yes.
That's really great. It's really unique in the sense that it's so holistic and has the option to be covered by insurance. So again, the box on your screen to schedule an appointment with the Center for Weight Management, you can always call the number 914-223-1780 or email Center for Weight Management nwh@northwell.edu. And again, at the end of this program, there'll be a survey that pops up where you can indicate you'd like to be called, so we can call you instead of you having to do the work. So just to get back to like some of these weight loss tricks, tips and tricks that you recommend. Laura, can you speak to that?
Sure, yeah. So there are many tricks that you can kind of do to increase your chances of losing weight and maintaining a healthy weight. So first thing we always say is to try to schedule about 3 meals a day, and plan out your healthy snacks. So planning makes all the difference. If you have in mind what you're going to have and you bring it along with you, it eliminates the ability to make poor food choices when you're feeling hungry. In addition, if you're working from home, try to set up your office that's really far away from the kitchen to decrease accessibility. You can also try to kind of change the way you view food. So we often view food as either a way to cope with stressors in our life or as a reward. So for example, you might get ice cream for doing a job well done, or eat the ice cream because you're feeling stressed. But it's really important to change the way you view food. Food is really our fuel. It's our fuel to have a productive day, and to help you stay focused throughout the day. So try to focus on more nutritious foods. So for example, whole foods that have protein in them, fiber, healthy fats, fruits and vegetables, and trying to really stay away from the processed foods. In addition, it's good to kind of be accountable and be aware of what you're eating throughout the day. So keeping a record of your daily food intake and how physical you are throughout the day can help you realize where you're at. Um, you know, it's only there for you. It's really good to celebrate the good days that you have and the days that you chose to eat well. Set your own goals, both short-term and long-term. It's really important that if you have some short-term goals, you give yourself, you celebrate those wins, celebrate your successes. Try your best to drink plenty of water and to get enough sleep. We recommend getting about 8 glasses of water in throughout the day, and to really sweeten them up in a natural way. So you could add some fruit to the water to sweeten them up, and try to stay away from artificial sweeteners. The recommended amount of time for sleeping throughout the day would be about 7 hours of sleep. It's shown to help you with losing weight if your body isn't struggling with too little or even too much sleep. If you find that you're possibly struggling with nighttime cravings, as often most of us do, it might be really useful to find a new hobby that actually uses your hands. So things like crocheting can be helpful, coloring, painting, even sometimes just calling a friend to distract yourself from going in and grabbing something if you're truly not feeling hungry. So those are a few tips I have.
That's excellent. I just wanted to clarify a little bit because it's maybe less common to hear a clinician not recommend artificial sweeteners. I agree with you as a registered dietitian, but maybe you can just elaborate on why you would choose not to recommend artificial sweeteners.
So
Rachel, you always have a great explanation for that.
So my background is in diabetes, and yes, for a long, long time, we always recommended to people to cut out the sugar and to use diet soda. And I personally don't have an issue with the occasional, diet beverage with some artificial sweeteners, but the latest research does show that it does trigger the brain in a way that we weren't expecting, so that it possibly does increase hunger, because the brain is expecting when it takes in something sweet to get more calories, to get more sugar. And when it doesn't get that, that could be a main driver of hunger. So I don't think that there's no place for them, but I do think that generally sticking to a plan like Laura mentioned, where maybe you do infuse your own water or you use seltzer water, it might be beneficial for weight loss in the long run.
That's a great explanation. And I think it's definitely something to think about, and shows to the point of why it's so important to have medically supervised weight loss, because really you're up to date on the latest research and understanding of what's appropriate for successful weight loss. So Laura, what about like fad diets, such as extremely high fat, low carbohydrate diets, or other ones that are really popular these days? What's your feeling on those?
Great question. So fad diets are usually a plan that kind of strictly cuts out entire food groups or cuts your calories drastically. They often help short term. You can really lose a lot of weight by doing a fad diet, but are really usually unsuccessful because they're hard to sustain for a long period of time. So all the changes you make to eating should be sustainable for the long term, or you may risk regaining the weight. So it could also be detrimental because our body still does that tug of war with us, where you start to lose weight and then the metabolism slows down and hunger hormones increase. So it kind of works against you if you do this quick decrease in weight. So it's really best to kind of make new lifestyle changes in order to have that long-term goal of weight loss and maintaining it off, and doing kind of the slow progress of weight loss so that you can keep it for a longer amount of time.
So while it's tempting to want to like get it off really fast, you're recommending that it would be more of a steady, gradual weight loss, and that means you'd be more successful in the long run, that it would stay off, that the rapid weight loss can be harmful to long-term success.
Right. So just finding a way to integrate little lifestyle changes over time can be more beneficial in the long run to maintaining the weight loss that you achieve.
Interesting. And what about in regards to portion control specifically? What are some tips with that? I know a lot of people just simply struggle to not just make the right choices, but have the right amount of the right choices.
Right. It's really hard to keep track of portion control. So some helpful tricks would be like when you're snacking, you should try to avoid eating out of the bag or the container. Try to always either portion or plate out what you're going to eat. So even just taking the chips from the bag and putting them into a small bowl can be helpful rather than eating from a large bag of chips. We also like to focus on the healthy plate model when you're eating your dinner or your meal. And really the plate should have about a fourth of your plate should be lean protein, a fourth of your plate should be complex carbohydrates, and then actually half of your plate should be filled with vegetables. And you could also do tricks like using smaller silverware or smaller plates or smaller cups to avoid overeating. In addition, sometimes we're challenged when we're eating out. So when you eat out, you could either share a meal with someone or eat half of the portion and save the other portion for another meal. If this is challenging, you could ask for a to-go box right when you get your meal and really just put half in the to-go box and only enjoy half of that meal. Additionally, if you're doing what we're doing, if you're eating at home more, but you get takeout, it might be beneficial to just plate your meal and how much, you should have on that healthy plate model before actually enjoying it from the container. It could help to decrease the amount you eat. Another little trick is to add water. Try having a glass of water about 30 minutes before you eat, which could help you feel a little bit fuller before you start enjoying your meal.
Really good advice. Thank you. And just to think more also in the holistic perspective, given the connection between mental health, stress, and weight, what are some stress reduction methods that you recommend?
Great question. It's so important that you focus on taking care of yourself and really decreasing your stress level daily. So one really useful way to boost your mood and increase your energy levels is to start to exercise. Exercise actually boosts your endorphins, which can help with depression and anxiety. You could also try listening to your favorite music or maybe calling a friend to try to relax. I found it's very helpful to start puzzling or coloring just to kind of take it down and really relax. In addition, mindful eating can be helpful. Just kind of focusing on your food at that time. Yoga, meditation, and even reading can help with your stress level.
So it's not just about the food that you eat. It's also about mind and stress level, and getting to my next point, exercise, right? So how much should people exercise, Rachel?
So there's so many health benefits to gain from increasing physical activity. Being active can help you lower your risk of heart disease, risk of dangerous falls, decrease weight, improve sleep, reduce the risk of osteoporosis. Based on the evidence, the experts recommend at least 150 minutes a week. I agree with this, but I think it's also important to take an individualized approach. To ask people who are doing no exercise at all to suddenly get to that amount could be a real challenge. I think it could be a goal to build up to in that circumstance. We also do want to take into account any physical restrictions you have to avoid injury and to make the exercise time as productive as possible.
So just to address a question related to exercise that came through in the chat, is it necessary to be a part of the exercise, the medically supervised exercise program at Chapel Crossing to be a part of the Center for Weight Management? Or is that not required?
So that's what I meant when I first said that we take an individualized approach. So Laura and I do the initial medical consultations, and then based off that discussion, based off hearing what has worked for you or the things that you already enjoy doing, you may or may not be interested in other parts of our program, like the exercise physiology component. And that is perfectly fine, as long as we're finding a way to get you to be active. I don't have any problem with people doing it on their own or just figuring out a plan between us.
So Rachel, then what are the best methods for maintaining a healthy lifestyle overall?
Mhm. So, finding a good support system is very important, whether it's family, friends, coworkers, or medical professionals. Having positive people in your life to help you keep track of your needs will help with your overall long term success. Also, staying honest with yourself about your progress. One way to do that is to record your food intake or exercise in a notebook or a cell phone app. That'll also keep you on track. And also, setting reasonable goals and celebrating your achievements are also important.
Right. So like a reasonable goal could be not, I want to lose 5 pounds, but I'm going to go for a 20-minute walk every day. Right. Is
Yes,
that a good
exactly.
example?
Yes,
Right.
that's it.
Much more positive when you can check it off. Feels
Mhm.
really good. Um, so last question for you, Rachel, before we get to our cooking demonstration. How does the Center for Weight Management help maintain your weight loss once you've achieved your goal? Because we want all patients to achieve their goal, right?
Mhm.
So you did it. Now how are you going to keep it off?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And getting down to your weight loss goal is a great reason to celebrate, but it is very important that all that hard work that went into that success isn't wasted. Our program focuses on small and sustainable changes that have become incorporated into a newer, healthier lifestyle. Our patients tend to continue to see us as they feel they may need. I usually recommend to them that they continue to check their weight once a week. That's important because by the time that our clothing starts to fit differently, we've already gained at least 5 pounds. We want to catch this weight regain before it gets out of control and address what's happening right away.
That's great. So it's good to know that you have continuous support, even like if you see yourself slipping just a little bit, you come back and have that boost, that
Yes.
boost. Um, that's excellent. So now moving into the cooking segment of our presentation here, as a registered dietitian that focuses on the culinary arts, I'm going to give you some strategies from a culinary perspective for weight loss. I'm going to talk a little bit about recommendations for in the kitchen, some cooking strategies, as well as meal prep strategies and some general healthy eating recommendations that I would make. And then I'm going to demonstrate 2 recipes for you. The first is what I like to call a breakfast, lunch, or dinner recipe. It can be for any time of the day. And the other is a sweet treat or a snack recipe. So before I get to the actual demonstration of the cooking, some strategies to keep in mind. We always think about what protein are we going to have, right? Even when we think about when you go to a menu and you read the recipe, or if you go look at recipes online or any type of cooking show, the emphasis is always on the protein. What I like to say, not only just for weight loss purposes, but in general, is make the vegetables the main focus. If vegetables should be half of our plate, that's what should make up the majority of your attention. You want vegetables not to be an afterthought, but to be delicious and a focus and something that you want to enjoy eating because it's the majority of what we all should be eating. So really concentrate on what type of vegetables you're going to prepare and how. Also think about plant-based foods, not just from a weight loss perspective that they tend to be lower in calories, but also think about the health value. Plant-based foods tend to be higher in fiber, lower in fats, and more nutritionally sound in terms of vitamins and minerals, which provides your body with that feeling that positive, good feeling you get from eating nutritiously. More energy, you sleep better. It's not just about the number of calories you put in your body, but the quality of the calories you put in your diet. And plant-based foods tend to help you do that, like beans, for example, instead of always meat. Sweeten and season yourself. This is a really important tip. You want to always get things that are bare minimum ingredients as possible. So when you're purchasing something, for example, one of the ingredients we're going to use today is shredded coconut. I purchased the unsweetened version so that I can control how sweet it is and how much sugar is added to it, not the food manufacturers. Same thing with any product that you buy or anything that you use to cook with. You want to control the salt level. So buy the low sodium or the salt-free version. You want to control the sugar. So buy the unsweetened version of anything you cook with so that you can control the added calories or added seasonings. The methods that you really want to focus on for the ultimate health value are grilling, baking, broiling, steaming, lightly sauteing, searing, roasting, poaching, and braising. Those are a lot of words, but basically everything but frying. You want to focus on methods that allow cooking through air, such as the oven or the air fryer. You want to focus on lightly sauteing using just a little bit of oil or cooking spray, as I'm doing today, to not add a lot of extra additional calories. Deep frying or even pan frying adds a lot of extra calories into your meal, which for weight loss purposes might be preventing you from having successful weight loss. Measuring fats as you're cooking. So rather than just pouring the olive oil into the pan, it's good to have a measuring spoon nearby, just because, again, olive oil is wonderful for you, but adding so much extra, again, gives extra calories. And for a lot of people who are struggling to lose weight, when they're choosing the right foods and can't understand why they're not losing, a lot of times it's because of portion control. So measuring these things out really, really helps. And focus on flavoring with fresh herbs, citrus, vinegars. If you like spicy foods, hot peppers, these are going to give food flavor without a lot of additional calories. Meal prep tips. Similar to how Laura described before about planning, the expression I always like to say, we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan, right? You want to do well. You bought all those healthy ingredients. You're on this journey. You saw that recipe. It looks delicious. And then you just can't get it together because you're busy and your kids are in the way or just fell apart. Planning things out is how you're going to be successful. So planning out your meals before you go to the grocery store or before you place your online order, making a list of all the things you're going to have for the week. Just like if you have kids at home, if you're planning out their schedule, or for work, if you're planning out your schedule, add the meals in there too. I have this great planner that has like my daily to-do list, and at the bottom it says meals. So I take my planner and I have all my work things and all the things I have to do for the family in the house, and at the bottom it has meals. And so I can write out things for myself, what I'm going to cook for dinner. But also if I'm trying to lose a little weight or just want to eat a little better, I write them all down. What I'm going to have for breakfast, what I'm going to have for lunch. And it takes out that extra layer of having to think about it, especially if you're stressed or busy or extra hungry. You know exactly what you're going to go to and be successful. You want to also place things around, especially us being home a lot more. You want to place things in your environment that make you eager to choose the healthy thing and maybe less likely to choose the special treat. I don't believe in good foods and bad foods. I believe in sometimes foods and everyday foods. The sometimes foods, like the cookies and the candy and dark chocolate or whatever, they should be in opaque containers where you can't see it. And then they're out of sight, out of mind, and they're there when you're going to indulge a little bit. But things that you want to eat more of, like vegetables, cut up fruit, low-fat cheeses, yogurt, those should be up front and center. So in your refrigerator, in those plastic containers you get from takeout, put them right there prepared. So when you open the fridge and you're hungry, you can go right to that. Or the melon that's chopped up, you can go right to that. and make it obvious for you to choose the right thing. Don't leave bowls of candy out or things on the counter. Put a bowl of fruit out instead. And then you want to set yourself up for success. Have a really stocked, healthy pantry and freezer. My freezer is very well stocked with fresh, frozen fruits and frozen vegetables and pre-cooked brown rice and individual chicken and fish and things like that. So I always can be prepared for something healthy. And when I'm busy during the week, I can always make a healthy meal. Healthy practices. Think about, if you're still hungry at mealtime, to serve up vegetables for a second. So you have your healthy plate and you drink all your water and you've waited about 15 minutes to see if you're still hungry, but you're still legitimately hungry. Start with the vegetables for seconds, see how you feel. When you're serving meals on at the family table, keep the food on the counter and then go back for being truly hungry. If you leave it on the table, you're more likely to pick a little more and eat mindlessly. You want to have to make the choice to go back to take seconds. That's a really helpful one. And again, practice mindful eating. Eat slowly, chew your food, engage in conversation, avoid distractions. TV, phones, media during eating is really hard for your brain to understand when you're truly full. And we already have a delay. It takes 15 seconds or 15 minutes for your brain to tell your stomach that it's hungry. So we got to help it out a little bit, right? Stretch out the meals. Let's eat like Europeans. That'll help a lot. Keeping a food diary, as my colleagues mentioned, is really, really helpful. It keeps you honest. Hydration, hydration, hydration. Drinking plenty of water. Oftentimes when we think we're hungry, we're really just thirsty. So if you've had your snack and you've had your meals and you're still hungry, grab some water, because really you might just be thirsty. Especially in the winter, we don't drink enough water because we don't sweat as much and it's cold. Focus on the healthy behaviors, not on the hunger. Be successful, be praised for your success and happy with yourself when you do something good. I chose vegetables instead of having cookies for a snack today. I did really well. I met my exercise goal, and the pounds will come. The inches will come as these behaviors become part of your lifestyle. And remember, moderation is key. We're not saying to avoid any specials ever, but having a little bit of dark chocolate here and there, or it's your birthday and you want to celebrate with a little bit of cake, that's okay. Depriving yourself completely can lead to a binge cycle, which is detrimental to weight loss. And celebrate everything positive. Positive thinking goes a really long way. Weight loss is hard. Celebrate when you make a good choice. And even if your goal is just to improve how you're eating, celebrate when you do something good. It's important to do that. All right, recipe demonstration time. The first recipe I'm demoing today, like I said, is a breakfast, lunch, or dinner recipe. If you have the recipes and you want to cook along with me so you have a lunch to eat, certainly can, or I can just make you really hungry and you can make it for when we sign off. That works too. All right, so I'm going to tilt my camera down so you can see exactly what I'm doing. How'd I do, ladies? Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
All right, awesome. Okay, so what I have here is I have my onions and my peppers that we're cooking up, and I diced them because that's how I prefer it. And this is a special recipe because we all think of eggs and typically have thought of eggs as something bad. But in reality, eggs are one of the most perfect food. So I'm going to demo this and I'm going to explain why it's so healthy for you. So what you want to do is spread it around the pan. Whoop, and give it a little swirl so that it cooks evenly into my vegetables that I sauteed in cooking spray. Then I'm going to take my healthy whole wheat wrap here. That's about 9 inches. And I'm going to dip it on one side and then I'm going to flip it. If you're somebody that likes social media, you've seen this is a very trendy thing on social media lately. And this is the healthy version to do this. All right. So basically you're making an omelet wrap, which is I think what I called it. Yes, it's an omelet wrap, right? All right. So you can add whatever you want. Here we have the also have the avocado option. You can cook it in or you can slice it in, which is what I'm going to show you how to do here. Now, again, avocado is one of those really healthy foods, but it's also one of those foods that's really high in calories. So the portion size isn't the whole avocado, it's a quarter of the avocado. All right. Just a little bit of those healthy brain foods is all you need. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my avocado, and this is a really ripe avocado. It's going to be kind of like my glue when I cook. I'm going to smush it up there. And then, now that I know that my omelet is cooked on that side, I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to let that avocado cook up just a little bit and let my wrap brown a little. Now, the reason why I like this recipe so much is you, again, can have it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and you can make it ahead of time. You can put it in the freezer, and I'll show you how to do that. It's kid friendly. So if you're a family person, family at home, you can have these ready to go for your family at any meal or a really easy weeknight. And it's portion controlled. So that was 2 eggs. It was some avocado, peppers, and onions. And you can do whatever you like. If you want to have spinach in there, you can do spinach. If you want to have mushrooms in there, you can do mushrooms. I think the recipe originally called for avocado, peppers, and spinach, but I ran out of spinach, so I had to improvise today. So I have onions, peppers, and avocado. So once it's totally cooked on the browning on that side, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Now, eggs are the perfect source of protein. They are the perfect food for what we call the building blocks of protein, amino acids. They're very absorbable by the body, and they are a very good brain food. They're rich in choline and a lot of other minerals, which are good for concentration and for your body. You do not have to worry about it being something that's bad for your cholesterol. We used to think it was something you could never eat the yolk, but really the yolk is important. You want to try to limit the amount of yolk that you have, say to like 5 or 6 yolks a week, unless your doctor has told you to be even more strict with that. But you can enjoy the yolks and have satisfying eggs. What you want to limit is the amount of bacon, for example, which isn't so healthy with eggs, and cheese. That's not something you want to have a whole lot of. So it looks like this is good and brown. So I'll show you what it looks like on the other side. So you see how it's browned over there. Now I'm going to show you how to wrap it. See if I can get there. Yeah, there we go. All right. So while it's cooling, I'm going to show you the completed version that I made earlier. So that's the completed version. And what I would do with this, I'll show you how to wrap it as it's cooled. I lined a sheet of foil with parchment paper, and I'm going to be able to put this in the freezer. I'm going to wrap it in my parchment paper. It has a double layer here. And then I'm going to wrap it in my foil. And I'm going to label it. This is for my little guy who prefers it just plain and simple. And I'm going to write on here, egg burrito. And I'm going to put this in a plastic bag in the freezer. And it should last about a month, right? So then for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you take it out. You bring it with you to work or just have for breakfast, lunch, or dinner at home. It's portion controlled and ready to go. All right, let me see if it's cold enough for me to touch it. Yep, okay. So basically to roll a wrap successfully, just like they do at the deli or famous restaurants, you fold it in on the inside. And then you want to fold it just a little bit. Fold it again while tucking in things on the side. And then fold it again. And voila, you have your wrap. And again, you can eat it right away. You can put it in the freezer. You can do whatever works for you. How'd that look?
Great, great job.
All right, one more I'm going to show you. And this is the snacking recipe. Let me just move this to the side so I don't burn myself.
I'm excited about the snack portion.
A big snacker, Laura?
I like my snacks, and it's always good to have an option where there's, you know, some protein in it and something that you can make ahead of time and put in the freezer to pop out when you're feeling a craving.
Yeah. So this is a great one. That's a big hit in my family. I cannot stress how often I have to make them because I have 2 little boys, and they need to eat a lot of these. A portion size of what I'm about to make, which are called energy bites. You've probably seen them around. This is a really good version that's healthy, that's calorie controlled, and you can do them any way you like with different dried fruits or chocolate chips. Today I'm making a sweet treat version because I thought it would be nice. You can use dried fruit or mini chocolate chips. Today it's Friday, I'm gonna do it with mini chocolate chips. So it's like a healthy dessert, all right? So I'll tilt my camera down. You can see how to do this. So what I have here in the bowl is ground up oatmeal, just old fashioned oats. You don't wanna use steel cut oats for this. You can use regular old fashioned oats that I ground up. I like the texture better ground up. If you don't have a food processor or you can't be bothered, just throw the oats in the bowl. You don't have to grind them. I just like the way they hold together and taste a little better ground up. So it's just a cup and a half of old-fashioned oatmeal. Then you just throw everything in the bowl, which is my favorite kind of recipe. So here I have coconut, the shredded, unsweetened coconut. That's going to give us some fiber and some healthy fats. Again, coconut is one of those things we thought you could never, ever have for heart reasons. In moderation and small amounts, it's okay. In here, I have my combination of seeds. So I have my flaxseed and my chia seeds. And this is going to give me that boost of protein and fiber, healthy omega-3 fatty acids, which is great for your brain and your heart. So I'm going to toss that into the bowl. Oh, I should have mentioned the whole grains. Don't be shy of whole grains and carbs when you are trying to lose weight. It's important for you to have some carbohydrates. If you don't, you're going to find yourself looking for pretzels and snack foods at night. You need carbohydrates through your day. You want to choose the right ones. So ones like oatmeal, which are rich in soluble fiber, helps to keep you full, as well as B vitamins to give you energy. Those are the types of grains that you want to pick in portion controlled amounts. All right, so then the next, we like peanut butter in my family. So that's what nut butter I'm going to use for this one. That's going to give me my big protein source and my healthy fats. If you can't have peanut butter for any reason, use a different nut butter or soy nut butter or seed butter. Whatever your heart desires, it works well in this recipe. Then I have my honey. That is my sweetness that I am controlling. I'm making a huge batch of these right now, so it requires half a cup of honey. I'm using locally sourced New York honey so that I also get the allergy benefits. We have a lot of seasonal allergies in my house, and when you use local honey, it helps to reduce your allergies. I'm not saying to drink it, but have a little bit in your cooking, and that's okay. And it's a very good source of sugar to sweeten things with, especially for your blood sugar rise, right, Rachel?
Yes, that's true.
Mini chocolate chips. Again, you can use raisins. I use raisins, I use dried blueberries, but TGIF, using chocolate chips. So you're gonna mix it all together. And once it's totally mixed up, it's gonna form like a dough. And when it forms a dough, when it's all combined, you're gonna put it in the freezer for about 10 minutes or the refrigerator for about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you have time for. If you don't have time, you can roll them without needing that, but it rolls a little better. And this is also a great recipe if you do have kids at home to do as a family. They can completely participate. There's no cooking. It's fun for them to roll. And if you're feeling stressed, this is also a really great one to make because the rolling is methodical for stress management. I can promise that. All right, so you see how it's formed a dough? All right, so I would pop that in the freezer, and through the magic of television, I'm gonna show you what it looks like. All right, so I assume this has been in the freezer, I've rolled it, and this is what they turn into. Delicious. They're about 1.5 inches to 2 inches in diameter. You can make them mini, you can make them big. If you make them about this size, 1 or 2 of them is an appropriate snack. It's about 150 calories, which is a really good amount for a snack choice that's rich in protein and fiber. And that's that. So I definitely recommend trying these recipes at home. They make them your own. They're a really great base style recipe to have as snacks or as meals, and see what you like. But they are a wonderful choice for you to get you started on your weight loss journey. And now I'm going to turn my attention to the chat because we had some questions coming through in the last few minutes that we had. Let me take a look and see. We answered this question. Do weight loss programs offer online only service, only online? Yes, right now you're only seeing patients online, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Let's see. What about food combining? I've heard it's not good to eat fruit with other food. I can take this one, ladies, if you want. Yes, I've heard that too, but to be honest with you, there's not a lot of merit behind the research of that. In fact, even with fruit, if you're eating it with a protein source for diabetes, it can definitely help with blood sugar control. But if you really want an apple by itself and you don't have diabetes, it's not essential that you have to have it with something else. It really just depends on your medical conditions. Would you agree with that, ladies?
Yeah, I think that when you do combine with the protein, that was a similar answer that I was thinking. I think you generally might be more satisfied by it though. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're eating because you're hungry, you may still be a little disappointed if you only have the fruit.
Right. But it's not essential, like there's no like chemical reaction that has to occur when you combine them.
No.
Let's see. Next question. A low food map diet is recommended for IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Is this most current recommendation as management too? I would say yes. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what other questions we have. What sweeteners are good for diabetes? Rachel, would you like to take that question?
Sure. So we kind of alluded to this before about the artificial sweeteners, that they are not a great choice. If you want to have something, though, if you have a craving for a Pepsi or a Coke and you want to have a diet version instead, that is much healthier. It won't cause the blood sugar spike. We were talking about the artificial sweeteners in reference to weight gain. And for people who struggle with type 2 diabetes, the weight gain and the diabetes go hand in hand. So if you're gaining weight, you're going to have worsening blood sugars for most people and need more medication and need more therapy. So I think that we want to be as natural as we can. Amy cooked with some honey. That's a good option. We definitely don't want to be pouring in sugar, but sometimes you could use applesauce is a good way to sweeten things up also. And again, if you have an occasional artificial sweetener to satisfy a craving, that is okay.
Okay. Either one of you can take this question. How long is the weight loss program in hours per week and months?
So usually, I'm not sure if I'm going to be answering this correctly, but usually we'd see you for about an hour for the first session, and just kind of get to know you. And then it's really based on your needs, how often we meet again. But then the subsequent meetings could be 2 weeks out, it could be a month out, to check progress. And it's usually for about a half an hour, the sessions. And then again, we keep reevaluating, where you're at on your journey, what you feel, how we can help. And based on that, we make our appointments based off of that.
Okay, so it's really individualized.
Absolutely.
Is what you're saying. Yeah. Question for me. The energy bites. Oh, they keep in the refrigerator for a few weeks. But I wonder, if you have a busy household, how many weeks they would actually last if you're having 1 or 2 a day. But they last a few weeks in an airtight container. All right. Can you recommend some products like tortillas you've used and crackers? So there are a lot of good products on the market. In general, a lot of those types of foods are what we consider more processed foods and for salty snack foods. So you want to limit your amount when you're trying to lose weight anyway of things like crackers, chips, especially if it's something that's hard for you to limit the portion size. But you always, in general, want to pick crackers that are high fiber options. So ones that are 3 or 4 grams of fiber or more in the nutrition facts, and that have very limited ingredients, or at least ingredients that you can understand, that you know what they are.
One of my other little tips or tricks for needing the crunch, sometimes it's good to just have a palm size full of almonds. Try to get in, a nut source instead.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And when she means palm, she means 1 palm.
Just a palm.
Right? That's a portion size. Nuts are so good for you. They're so delicious, but
not a handful. A palm.
Right. A palm full. Exactly. So it looks like we've answered all the questions in the chat today. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me in the kitchen. It was nice to have your expertise and your company today. I think that this was a great way for a lot of people to get started or to get some tips for their weight loss journey. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Again, if you're interested in the Center for Weight Management, the number is 914-223-1780, or you can email Center for Weight Management nwh@northwell.edu. Your opinions and your review of this program is really important to us. It's what helps us create new programs for the community that you want to see. So please give us your feedback in the survey that will pop up automatically on your screen. It's very short, I promise. So just give us some feedback. And if you would like to be contacted make it easier to schedule an appointment, put your name and contact information in there. It's completely confidential, and one of the weight loss experts will reach out to you. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.